Hello everyone, happy Friday. I don't usually do live streams on Friday, but I've had a busy week. So I'm going to give a minute for everyone to get the notification that I am live. So let me know if you're here. I'm going to see, let's see, I'm working without my computer, so I'm not used to doing things this way. I'm going to see if I can see myself. It looks like some of you guys are on. Hi, Ria. Okay. All right, it looks like I'm live. So welcome. Let me know if you're here. Hopefully some of you guys probably just received the messenger notice that I'm live. So it looks like lots of you guys are hopping on. Hi Dawn. Hi Helen. Hi Jamie. So I'm going to be looking at my notes from my tablet. So if you see me looking down, that is what is happening. Oh, and I just realized I didn't put my headphones in. Can you guys hear me okay? Hi Patricia. Hi Catherine. Haven't seen you for a while. Let me know if you guys, if somebody could let me know if you could hear me fine. I just put my headphones in my ear. I'm not used to doing live streams from my phone. So anyway, I wanted to come on today and hi Olivia and talk about how trauma and emotions, hi Emma, welcome, how trauma and emotions can and are affecting our physical body. Even trauma and emotions that did not originate with us. We inherit, literally we inherit trauma, belief patterns, and negative emotions from our ancestors, from our parents, our grandparents, and farther back, the same way that we inherit, you know, how I inherited that my hair is curly. I also inherited things like my mom's fear, you know, things like trauma from my grandparents. We inherit these things in our DNA, and science has actually proven that. And so that is affecting our physical bodies. So most of us know that trauma and negative emotions affect our physical bodies. But I wanted to come in here and talk a little bit about exactly how these things are affecting our bodies. So we all know, you know, we carry stress in our bodies. We carry, you know, trauma affects our organs and our cells. But I wanted to give a little bit more specific information about exactly what's happening. And some of what's happening. I mean, I could talk for weeks and months about this, but I'm going to give a little bit of information today on some of the different body systems and how trauma can be showing up and affecting us in that way. Thank you, Kim. And the telomeres, yes. So we could talk on and on about DNA. There's so we could dive really deep into this topic. But today, hi Tracy, today I'm going to just talk a little bit about some of the ways and some of the body systems and organs, how trauma is affecting us. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I'm not used to doing live streams from my phone, but my computer is broken right now. I'm getting a new one this weekend. All right, so I've made a couple of posts about this week that you might have read, but I'm going to go over some of that information, exactly how some of this trauma is affecting our body and how exactly it can lead to specific illnesses and disorders if the trauma and the emotions is not healed. So one of the things that I find really fascinating is that our lymph systems can hold the same beliefs that viruses that are commonly held by viruses, bacteria, and parasites. So viruses, bacteria, and parasites, and fungus, and yeast, these things are living organisms that actually have belief systems of their own, which is super fascinating. And it's really important to understand that when you're doing work with people to heal viruses, bacteria, parasites, you know, yeast, if you're working with someone that suffers from candida, fungus, because they actually have their own belief systems. And when we are sharing those belief systems that they have, then it's like acting as Velcro to us to be able to take on and act as a host basically for those viruses, bacteria, funguses, parasites, yeast, all of those things. If we have a lot of unworthiness, if we have a lot of guilt or shame, we're going to be attracting viruses and bacteria, and we can get stuck in those patterns. And our lymph systems are where we hold some of these beliefs that are the same programs that are held by viruses, bacteria, and parasites. So it's super important to clear those for ourselves and in our lymph system, and also when you're working with, if you're a healer and you're working with clients, to clear those from the bacteria, the virus, the parasite, the fungus, the yeast themselves, because then it's going to clear more effectively and it's going to stay clear. And this is one of the things that I have built in to my Sacred Soul alignments, and I'm going to be running some of those for you guys today to actually clear from not only us when we're running. So for example, I have a bacteria alignment, I have a virus alignment. And when the energy of these alignments are running, it's clearing not only for the person that they're, that is receiving the healing, but it's also clearing on the virus and the bacteria itself. So it's a really important step. Another thing that really affects our lymph system. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Trinity. Hi, Sherry. Lots of you guys are hopping on, which is awesome for a Friday afternoon or evening. Welcome everyone who's just joined. So chronic stress really affects our lymphatic system, and it lowers our immunities. It lowers our immune system. I mean, that's pretty basic knowledge. Most people know that stress creates immune problems. But when you combine that stress, lowering your immune system, with the fact that we are programming with viruses and bacteria, that's creating a breeding ground for illness and disease and exhaustion, right? So this is why I build in layers and layers and layers of healing in all of my alignments, and particularly I have worked on, so those of you who are my practitioners have, if you're in the mastermind, you've received the body system alignments, but I haven't done a lot with them since I created them. I spent months creating these alignments because each one, there's 10 of them, each one has a lot layered in, because we have to heal this stuff from many different layers, many different facets of healing the body. So that's just a little bit of information about the lymphatic system and the immune system and how viruses and bacteria really work in our bodies. Just a touching on that. I mean, we could talk about this for hours. And then the digestive system. So the digestive system is something that I have done extensive research and healing around. So we hold a lot of ancestral trauma in our digestive system. I wrote a post the other day and I talked about how we might be holding our grandmother's, sexual abuse that we might not even know of in our digestive system. Our mother's shame and unworthiness and fear, we might be holding that in our digestive system. I know I inherited a lot of ancestral stuff in my digestive system, and by default, pass that on to my daughters. And so 2 of my daughters I've had to do a lot of healing for them because 2 of my daughters have celiac, which is an autoimmune disorder, but really affects the digestive system. So I've done extensive work around the digestive system, and this is actually why I created the body system alignments. So if you've experienced any form of abuse or trauma, even, as a small child, what an adult might not consider abuse could feel like abuse to a child, especially a really sensitive child. And most of us in this group are sensitive beings. So, we're all holding trauma from some form of what has either been abuse or felt like abuse. And we're holding that, one of the places we're holding that is in our digestive system. We're holding our ancestral trauma that we've inherited in our digestive system. Oh, hi, Kim. Yay. You're here. Another thing, so our digestive system is where emotions and abuse are stored in our body. It's stored in other places as well, but that is really one of the main places where emotions are stored. Just think about the saying, gut feeling. It's because we have, that one of the reasons is because that's our emotional guidance system, really. And we also, I could go on and on about that. We also have like neurons, and I'm not going to go deep into all of that stuff, but I wanted to also talk about that our digestive system, and this when I learned this years ago, this was so fascinating to me. And over 90% of the serotonin in our body is produced in our gut. So if you think about how, if we're storing trauma, what a just a crazy cycle this can become. If we're storing trauma and, fear and anger and unworthiness in our, and unhappiness and, sorrow and pain in our digestive system, in our gut. And that is where serotonin is being produced, which serotonin is referred to, one of the things that's referred to as the happiness hormone. Just think about what a ridiculous, crazy cycle that can create. Our digestive systems aren't working properly because of all of these emotions that we're storing, and then we can't produce a proper amount of serotonin, which creates more emotional discord, and then that just continues on and on and on until it actually gets healed. Yes, Shay, this could be part of your stomach issue, definitely, for sure. If anyone has a digestive problem or a stomach issue, then I would really take a look at what emotions that you might be storing in your digestive system and get some healing around that. So serotonin, low levels of serotonin cause depression, anxiety, and anger. And so just think about that cycle. That it's being produced in our digestive system. Even autism is associated with altered serotonin levels. It can lead to things like irritable bowel syndrome, which that makes sense because that's in our digestive system, but it can also lead to cardiovascular disease and even osteoporosis. And I read a statistic a couple of years ago when I was really doing a lot of research on serotonin, that something like 90 to 95% of violent criminals that they've tested that are in prison for a violent crime have extremely low serotonin levels. That was a huge light bulb moment to me. How important those serotonin levels are. So healing around this stuff is really, really important. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about for the digestive system. That's something I could talk about for days and weeks. And I'm seeing your comments, but I'm going to come back and look at those. A lot of them are passing by that I'm not catching. So the nervous system is another body system that I wanted to talk about today, just briefly. Our nervous system, yes, they're in prison. Of course, they will not be happy. But, they got most, this is a whole other topic we could go off on, but most people who are in prison are there because they committed a crime. Not all, of course. That's not all. That's not a blanket statement. But, there's a reason why, they committed a crime. If it's a violent crime, serotonin really affects our anger levels. So the nervous system is the fastest computer known to man. It's our electrical connection to the outside world. It holds, the way that we communicate. Our communication with our body is through the nervous system. So if you have any trouble or issues around communication, likely that the nervous system is a good place to look. And we hold trauma in our nervous system as well. Trauma can get stuck in our nervous system even if we've released trauma, on a conscious level. Say you had some sort of traumatic event happen, and you went to therapy, and you talked about it, and you released that trauma consciously. You are probably, unless you've done some sort of healing to release it from your nervous system, you are probably still holding that trauma in your nervous system. EFT tapping is a really excellent way to release trauma from your nervous system. The healing work that I do energetically also releases trauma from your nervous system. And movement is really good at releasing trauma from your nervous system. All right, Kim, thanks for joining. Bye. So I'm going to run, I didn't mention that I'm going to run the serotonin balance alignment today for the issues that we talked about with the digestive system. And I'm going to run the sacred soul alignment trauma disconnect also today to help release that trauma that you may be holding in your digestive system and in your nervous system. So it's really important to to intentionally release trauma from our nervous system. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about the endocrine system. The endocrine system is very complex, and this is another thing that I could talk about for days and weeks. And in fact, if you are really super interested in going super deep with your endocrine system, Kim, who just I think hopped off, Kimberly Carlson, has an in-depth program that she's starting next week on the endocrine system. The endocrine system is one of the things I'm going to be focusing on in a program that I have coming up next week that I'm going to be talking about in a minute. But I wanted to talk about how the endocrine system and trauma and emotions affect our bodies. So the endocrine system, and I'm just going to briefly touch on this. This is a very deep topic that we could go on and on for hours about. The endocrine system regulates our emotions, and this has obviously a huge effect on our overall health. So that it actually regulates our emotions. Our hormones and glands are part of our endocrine system. So our hormones have a lot to do with our emotions. If our hormones are out of balance, our emotions are going to be out of balance. And if you look at the reverse of that, our emotions being out of balance is what can create a hormonal imbalance. Adrenals, so I just wanted to talk, there's several glands that are controlled by the endocrine system, but I wanted to talk about the adrenal gland today because this is something that people come to me for help with a lot. And one of the reasons is because I tend to work with a lot of healers. One of the belief programs around the adrenal gland, if people have issues with their adrenal gland, programming is a belief that we have to save the world. A lot of healers tend to have those type of beliefs, and that can create adrenal fatigue and failure. So I see a lot of people who are doing healing work that really struggle with their adrenal glands, and I used to. I was in complete adrenal failure about 6 or 7 years ago, and healing work really pulled me out of it. So adrenal issues can also lead to thyroid issues. They're connected. So programming that people have that are struggling with their adrenals are, like I said, a belief that you have to save the world. Even oath vows and contracts that you have to save the world. Other programming can be that you don't know how to stop. You don't know how to rest. You don't know how to say no. And problems with the adrenal gland can cause a chain reaction in the body. Of course, everything in our bodies are connected. But if we have a problem with our adrenals, if our adrenals are not functioning properly, then that can lead to issues with our lungs. Yeah, Tracy, savior complex, totally. And weight gain, yes. So adrenals are related to cortisol. Cortisol, if we have too much cortisol, we can gain weight. Adrenals are related to our metabolism. I could go on and on. Again, this could be like a 12-hour live stream. So if the adrenals aren't working properly, yes, we can gain weight. It can affect our thyroid. It makes us exhausted. If you are just exhausted and you don't know why, chances are you're in some kind of adrenal issue, whether it's just adrenal fatigue or complete adrenal failure. And then that becomes a whole nother cycle, because a lot of us, we're exhausted midway through the day, so we reach for a cup of coffee in the afternoon. Caffeine, it negatively affects the adrenal glands. So all of these things become just cycles that are difficult to get out of unless we address the core issue and bring in the healing. So again, if the adrenals aren't working properly, that can affect the lungs. If our lungs aren't working properly, that can affect our heart. So, this just becomes a snowball effect until we really address what the core issues are, which is the trauma and the emotions. One of the emotions that we hold in the adrenals is resentment. That totally makes sense when you think about people that have cycles of feeling like they have to save the world and they don't know how to stop and they can't say no. And you get in that cycle and you're trying to save everyone and you can't say no, and then that creates resentment. And then that resentment feeds back into creating more problems with the adrenals. So again, it's that, those cycles that are hard to get out of. So also I'm going to talk about 2 more systems, and then I'm going to do some healing. So the circulatory system, our heart, blood, and circulatory systems react really positively to love. We really need love for these systems to be functioning optimally. There was a study done, and this is kind of a sad study, but there was an experiment done several years ago to discover the effects that stress and the lack of love had on a living being. And in this experiment, they did this experiment on a dog. So this dog was given love and a lot of attention and really healthy nutrients from its owner. And then that love was withdrawn, and the dog was left alone and isolated. And this dog actually developed leukemia after the love was withdrawn. That's pretty, that made me sad when I read about that. But then I discovered that the owner came back in, the love was brought back in, and the dog actually healed. So that's just one, that was an experiment that was done, and that's just one example of how important love is and the ability to receive love on all parts and aspects of our physical bodies. So a lack of love and a lack of the ability to receive love really affects these parts of our bodies. If we have a lot of beliefs or emotions around unworthiness, even if somebody is loving us unconditionally, we're going to have an issue receiving that love. And that can really affect our circulatory system. It can affect our heart. And it can lead to blood issues. Leukemia is a blood cancer. This makes me think about my mom. My mom died from multiple myeloma, which is bone marrow cancer. It's in the category of blood cancers, and she carried so much unworthiness and really had trouble receiving love, and she developed bone marrow cancer and died from it when she was very young. She was only 52. She was really unable to receive love, and she had a lot of other traumas in her life from a very young age that created, basically your bone marrow is as deep as you can go, and she was really lacking in self-love, was what it boiled down to. So that makes me think about her when I learn and read about this type of thing. And this is one of the reasons why doing healing on things like this is so important to me, because I have experienced the sickness and death of people that I love, that I feel, this is the work that could have helped them if I had known about it at that time, or if they had known about it at that time. How interesting. Okay, so thank you for all your comments. I'm going to come back and look at, oh yes, the experiments about the babies in the orphanages that were not loved and they died. I think those experiments were done in Russia. Yeah, that's a really powerful story. Okay, so if somebody is unable to receive love, they're going to have issues with their circulatory system and with their blood. The circulatory system also is related to the ability to absorb nutrients and thoughts and emotions that are helpful to the body. So if our circulatory system is not operating or functioning properly, we're going to have difficulty absorbing nutrients. Same with our digestive systems, absorbing nutrients properly even if we're taking them in. So even if we're eating a super healthy diet, if our digestive system and our circulatory systems are not functioning properly, we're not going to be able to absorb those nutrients. The circulatory system also is related to the ability to absorb positive thoughts and feelings as well. And these positive thoughts and feelings are helpful and healing to the body. So really important. The final body system I wanted to talk about today is the respiratory system. So when we breathe, everybody just take a moment and just take a deep breath and just be conscious for just a moment. We forget about our breath. Our breath is so important. And Valerie is on. I think you're still on, Valerie. You do a lot of breath work with your clients. Breath is super, super important. So take a moment and just connect with your breath for just a moment. When we breathe, we are activating and connecting the 3 molecules in our body that hold our embodiments. There's 1 master cell in the brain, 1 in the heart, and 1 at the base of the spine. When a baby takes its first breath, it's breathing in and activating its embodiment, its soul's essence. When we breathe, we are activating and connecting these 3 master cells. We're connecting with our soul. And breath is so important. So respiratory issues are many. Any lung issue has to do with sorrow, pain, and fear. We hold grief in our lungs, which is one reason why, if you've ever noticed, if you've gone through a grieving process yourself, if you think back to that time, you may remember that you sighed a lot when you were grieving. That's because you were processing grief that was in your lungs. I'm going to be running the Sacred Soul Alignment today called the Breath of Air, and this is going to be addressing our lungs and clearing grief and sorrow from our lungs. So I'm going to be talking about, Monday, I'm going to be coming on here doing another live stream, and I'm going to talk about the cardiovascular system. I talked a little bit about the heart today, but I'm going to be talking about the cardiovascular system, the reproductive system, the skeletal system, the integumentary system, and the renal system. So join me on Monday. I think I'm going to be doing that live stream at noon, but I'll be making an announcement in the group. And if you're signed up for my messenger notifications, you'll get a notification on Monday that I'm going to be going live. So I'll be talking about those on Monday. But Tuesday, I'm actually starting a program. It's a 10-week program. And it's the cost of this program is very low. It's just $197, but if you sign up before Sunday, you actually can save an extra $50 and get the whole 10-week program for just $147. And I'll put the link after the live stream is done. I'll put the link in the chat, and I'll also put it above this video, so it's easy to find. So it's 10 weeks. Using all of these body system alignments and a lot of other healing that I'm going to bring in that will support the alignments themselves. So, we talked about some of the stuff that can really be affecting our bodies. Our bodies contain about 10 trillion individual cells, and trauma and negative emotions affects every cell of our body. But these cells are constantly rejuvenating and regenerating. So when we begin to heal, when we heal this stuff, we have the opportunity to produce healthier cells. We produce new villi in our intestines. That's the hair-like things in our intestines that actually absorb the nutrients. We produce new villi every 2 to 3 days. So we can really improve our digestive system in a matter of a couple days. We produce a new stomach lining every 5 days. We produce new platelets in our blood every 10 days. New taste buds every 10 days. Our lungs reproduce themselves every 21 days. Isn't that's just incredible to me. New skin every 30 days. A new liver every 45 days. And we produce new DNA matter every 45 days. That's amazing. Our entire body system reproduces itself every 7 years, even our skeletal system. And we produce new brain cells every 60 days. So we can actually change this. We can change all of this stuff, and we can change it pretty quickly. So in the 10 weeks of the program, all of those cells will be having the opportunity to reproduce themselves, some of them multiple times over. So all of this is why I created this entire system of body system alignments. There are 10 of them, so I talked about a few of them today. And as I mentioned, I spent months working on these because so all of the alignments, all of the sacred soul alignments have a lot layered in and built in. But these body system alignments have more than any other alignments built into them. Very, very specific layered healing instructions that are happening when this energy is run. And they're so powerful that I don't run more than one of them at a time typically. And I only bring in 1 or 2 other alignments at the same time to support that healing. So, today, for example, I think I'm going to be running 4 or 5 alignments. I would not be doing that with the body system alignments. So this program is created around these 10 alignments. So it's going to be a 10-week program. There's 2 live calls, one on this coming Tuesday when we kick off, and then 1 live call at the end. And all 10 weeks you'll receive 2 recordings. One of them will be the body system alignment for that week, plus 1 or 2 others that will support it. And then you'll receive a second recording. So the body system alignments are about 10 minutes long for those alignments. And then you'll receive another recording that'll be between 15 and 30 minutes long that is supporting healing for whatever that body system is, with belief work and with additional sacred soul alignments. So it's going to be a very powerful 10 weeks. And I'm excited about it for myself as well as everyone else. And the reason why the price is so low is that I'm going to be creating much of it as I go. So all of the recordings are complete for the body system alignments. So those are all up and in Kajabi, ready to go. But I'm going to be creating the additional healing recordings as we go throughout each 10 weeks. And so that's why I've priced this at a really super low, affordable price, so that I have people that are joining me and going on this journey with me while I'm creating it. And then at the end, when I offer it after this live round is done, the price is going to be double. So you have a good opportunity to get in for just $147 before Sunday, and I'll share the link. Okay, basically that's all I wanted to say about that. It's 10 weeks. It starts Tuesday. And I was thinking about today, as I was preparing for this live stream, and thinking about how so much of our trauma is inherited, and how kind of appropriate it is that I'm talking about all of this right on Mother's Day weekend, because a lot of us have taken on so much from our moms and our dads and our grandmothers and our grandfathers. So this is really an opportunity to gift not only ourselves but our families with this healing, because when we heal ourselves, we're also healing our families. That's the best way really to help our families, is to do the work on ourselves. So if you're interested in joining me, I'll share that link when we're done here with the healing. So I'm going to be running, let's see, 4 alignments. And those are the serotonin balance alignment. So serotonin is a chemical and neurotransmitter that allows communication to happen between parts of the brain. It is essential for communication between nerve cells, and an imbalance in serotonin levels can cause major problems such as deep depression and anger issues. And as I shared a couple minutes ago, studies have shown that the most violent criminals have very low serotonin levels. There was a study done, it was somewhere between 90 and 95% of people in prison for violent crimes have very low serotonin levels. And as somebody commented, they're in prison, so they're going to be even more unhappy. So it's just creating it's like digging a hole that almost becomes impossible or feels impossible to get out of, especially without any form of, healing. So this alignment will balance serotonin to alleviate or dramatically improve depression and anger issues. And it will help lift you up and create an overall sense of joy and calm. This is one that clients that I work with that struggle with depression or anxiety, I will make them a short recording that they can play every day. And I've had people with their doctors, permission to get off of anxiety and depression medication. Many people that I have worked with using this alignment and a couple of others. Don't do that without your doctor's advice, though. And then trauma disconnect. When we experience or observe a traumatic event, our entire being is immersed in that energy, and also when we inherit it. Trauma is a sharp, shocking energy that can penetrate many layers of our being. This is why trauma can remain in our energy even lifetimes after the event happened. This alignment will clear trauma being held in the cells, the cellular memory, the chakras, the DNA, the nervous system, our subtle bodies. And it's going to bring in Creator's infinite healing and unconditional love. And then adrenal fatigue and failure. We talked quite a bit about that. So it arises when we experience high levels of stress or trauma over long periods of time. It forces our adrenal glands to go into overdrive, leading to an overproduction or underproduction of adrenal hormones. This can lead to extreme exhaustion and other problems such as sleep disturbances and anxiety. Oh no, Bridget, no, that I found that very, your comment was completely relevant, and thank you for sharing that, because it's so true. It's part of that cycle that we get into. One thing leads to another that leads back to the other, and it just digs us into a deeper and deeper hole until we can bring healing in. And, that's absolutely true. I was just talking with my friend about this this morning. People get stuck in these cycles that it almost feels impossible to get out of, because that it feeds back into itself. And prison is a very excellent example of that and how that happens. Most of the people that are in prison and in jail are victims of something themselves, and the system is completely broken. So I'm happy that you shared that comment. Okay, so the adrenal fatigue alignment will get to the heart of the matter and release the chronic or acute stress or trauma that created the problem. It balances your adrenal glands, adrenaline, cortisol, gonadotropins, gonadal steroid hormones, vasopressin, I'm not even going to try to say that word, serotonin, and it works to reduce the effects of stress and trauma, including exhaustion. And then finally, the breath of air. So the yogis of ancient India said that when you can change your breath, you can change your life. And breathing patterns are a general indication of our life patterns and our experiences. We tend to hold our breath when we're sad or angry or fearful. I know I do that, even though I'm pretty conscious of my breath. Sometimes I will find myself holding my breath. The phrase "take a deep breath" suggests release and relief, and this is necessary for our emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. This alignment will clear the feeling that you need to be domineering, manipulative, or controlling, releases anger and irritation, resolves the feeling of crying on the inside, of grief patterns, and feelings of being a victim. It also balances the body's ability to digest dairy and balances histamines in the body, as it eliminates excess acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is naturally found in coffee, bread, and fruit. Drinking, smoking, and breathing polluted air, drinking alcohol, smoking and breathing polluted air, and eating sugar can lead to high levels of acetaldehyde in the body, which is detrimental to our bodies. All right, so go ahead and if you're not driving, just get comfortable for a moment, and I'm going to guide you guys up into the heart of creation, into a meditative state, and I'm going to run these alignments. So just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just being aware of your breath for a moment. And being aware of those master cells that we talked about that hold our soul's essence in the brain, the heart, and the base of the spine. Calling back all parts and aspects of you, all of your awareness. And just begin to notice that all around you are particles of light, sparks of light. This is divine source energy, and this is a part of who you are. Begin to breathe this light into your body, allowing it to fill every cell and molecule, and gathering in the center of your heart, forming a beautiful ball of light. From this ball of light in your heart, sending down a grounding cord from your heart, going down into the earth, going down through all the layers and levels of the earth, into the crystalline core, the heart chakra of Gaia. Anchor yourself in here, feeling that heart-to-heart connection between your heart and the heart of Gaia. Just feel, see, or imagine the warm golden light surrounding you, and begin to draw that light up through your grounding cord all the way up through the earth, coming into your Earth Star chakra, which is about 12 inches below your feet, coming up into your feet and up your legs. And as this light travels through all of your chakras, allowing it to cleanse and purify each chakra, as it travels up into your root chakra, your sacral, your solar plexus, your heart, your high heart. And from your heart, sending a beam of light straight up, and pulling that light up into your high heart, your throat, your third eye, your crown, up into your soul star chakra, which is about 12 inches above your head, and traveling up, up, up through this beam of light from your heart, and taking a moment to connect with your higher self. It's calling forward your I am, your divine creator self, anchoring this beam of light here into the heart of your higher self, and continue traveling up, up, up through this beam of light beyond the universe as far as you can travel, entering into the beautiful pure white light of the heart of creation. This is the energy of all that is. Anchor your beam of light here into the heart of creation, feeling that heart-to-heart connection between your heart and the heart of Creator. Begin pulling that beautiful source light down through your beam, all the way down into your soul star, your crown, your third eye, your throat, your high heart, and into your heart. Feeling your heart expand with this beautiful light. Allowing this light to fill every cell and molecule of your body. Allowing this light to spread beyond your physical body, 12 feet in all directions, forming a beautiful ball of light that you are in the center of. Witnessing a space in the earth for this ball of light to drop down. Dropping down, 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 this ball of light with you inside, all the way back down into the heart chakra of Gaia. Anchor yourself in here. And just dropping back down into your heart, taking deep breaths, being conscious of your breath as you receive these alignments. So calling in the serotonin balance, sacred soul alignment now, and divine love and light. Thank you. So you may feel the energy in your solar plexus area or in your brain. Good. Just allowing your body's serotonin to be balanced, allowing your body's ability to create an optimal amount of serotonin for you. Bringing with it joy, peace, and calm. Just feeling these energies washing over you. You may feel a spark of joy in your heart. You may feel a sense of peace wrapping around you like a soft, warm blanket. Bringing in the sacred soul alignment trauma disconnect now in divine love and light. Thank you. Good. Just allowing any trauma that you're holding in your cells, in your nervous system, in any of your organs, in your digestive system, allowing that trauma to be released. I'm going to activate something called the Sacred Light Release Vortex here to really clear that trauma at the deepest layers and levels. So you may feel the energy beginning to spin around you. Good. I'm going to bring in the adrenal fatigue and failure alignment here in divine love and light. Thank you. Good. This is clearing stress and trauma. This is also balancing various glands in your body, balancing hormones. If you've been feeling exhausted, this alignment can help. Good. And finally, I'm going to call in the breath of air, sacred soul alignment, and divine love and light. Thank you. Just paying attention here to your breathing, allowing any grief, feelings of control or manipulation, anger or irritation to be released. Good. I'm just taking a couple more deep breaths here, just breathing in all of the supportive energy that's around you. And as you breathe out, just allowing yourself to release anything that's not serving you today. Any emotions, trauma. Just setting the intention here for the cells of your body to be renewed and rejuvenated. Good. Asking for this healing to be anchored into every cell of the body, anchored down into the Earth Star chakra, anchored down into the heart chakra of Gaia and into the fifth dimensional grid system of Gaia. And when you're ready, take another deep breath and open your eyes. All right, good. So quite a few of you guys stayed on. Thank you for staying on. How did that feel? How are you all feeling? And if you're watching the replay, I'd love to hear also how you're feeling. If anybody has any questions about the program, feel free to ask any questions that you might have. It starts on Tuesday. It's $197, but if you sign up before Sunday, you can get it for $147. It's going to be 10 weeks of healing, 2 live calls, so bookended with live calls. So there will be a live call on Tuesday and a live call, I think it's June 16th when we finish up, and then 20 different healing recordings throughout those 10 weeks. Started to fall asleep, relaxed, felt a little dizzy. That's from the vortex. Awesome, Tegan. Yes, come back and watch the replay. Perfect timing. Good. Super exhausted. Hopefully that will help, Summer. Okay, so thank you guys, and happy Mother's Day weekend to all of you who are mothers or who are celebrating mothers. And I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you guys in the program. We start on Tuesday, and I will... Yes, Jessica, I will send you the link. I will also be on Monday. I'm going to come back and talk about the rest of the body systems that I didn't cover today. So look for a link or an announcement in the group. I believe I'll do it about 12 o'clock Pacific time on Monday. And have a really good weekend, everyone, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.